Tu boleh ganti dengan ayam tak?
Boleh.
Bawa macam tu lah. Nanti aku pergi kedai vape je, nanti aku datang balik.
Boleh bayar lagi.
Ha? Boleh.
Nak tambah telur mata?
Tak nak. Nasi lebih lah. Bawa nasi lebih. Bayar kad boleh ya? Okey. Tak cocok lagi. So everyone, aku ada kapadi nak beli makanan je.
RM16.30.
16. Nanti aku jerit kat depan je lah. Dah suruh aku masuk, okey yo. Malas. Dah siap tak balik Sama. Okay, so hello everyone. Aku ni mau balik kerja, tapi aku nak pergi kedai vape dulu, nak beli jus, and aku order makanan sikit lah. So aku mau beli makanan ni. And now nak pergi jumpa dengan bos aku, and nak pergi ke kedai vape pula. Welcome everyone, welcome to the stream. Sorry for my eyes, fine.
But my sister got compliment one thing lah, it's like, when I buy boba here, don't need to queue.
Why you?
I buy at Malaysia, fucking queue like 10,000 here. Queue for boba tea. Taiwan no need to queue.
Because Taiwan boba tea is everywhere.
Fucking boba shop.
Yeah.
2 steps there's another boba shop. You know, 2 steps there's another boba shop. And then she said, you know the fried chicken here,
So kita borak-borak lah.
fucking disgusting. We went to Xinfudang. There's a Xinfudang.
Licin tu je dah.
The middle they are open. Then they hire all the big model there. Cook all food and then meet these. Hey, there's another Xinfudang nearby. Go there buy first then we come back here and take picture with the cheese. So okay, we go there. 2 minutes we got our boba. Then we come back and take picture.
But my sister said over at Taiwan, fried chicken cannot compare to you.
Makan dia.
Hey, KFC is very nice. KFC is very nice.
KFC rasa lain kat sana. Oh, terkejut. Hello. Ramai hari ni. Okay. Ada tak? 6 mg. 3 je kot. Kat rumah ada lagi 2. Lagi 3 botol. Macam boleh cakap dia.
Kalau ada yang 12 ni.
Okey lah. Sekarang pun dah 12 dah. Stok tak ada ke? Okey lah.
Satu ke
3.
tiga? Sekali kan?
Okey. Kalau gitu boleh lah. Ambil 3 je. Berapa dia ada?
Ini 60 kalau 3.
Kad boleh?
Boleh.
Ni dia. Ya.
Oh, are you using that one? What? The one beside the Caliban?
80 tu.
The 80 bucks one? No, this is cooler.
Oh. Tak, pasal kalau Joe pakai dengan baju ni macam ikut tema.
Kan?
Warna dia sama.
Let's go, jom. Change plate lah.
Ah, oh boleh ke?
Baru click nails.
Boleh.
Kan? Yang kat ni lah recommend.
Oh ya ke? Good salesperson. Oh, dapat? Oh. Yeah, that's cool. Magnet.
Magnet.
Makasih. Special edition lah. Okay. Dapat tu. Video pula. Lagipun makanan aku tak siap masak Makanan aku usually lama lagi baru siap. Bayangkan beli nasi goreng yang harga RM16. Gila Cok. Nasi goreng petai.
Twitch.tv/AdventureOne.
You don't become like Merv dia baru buat Twitch tau. Nanti follow dia. Ni Merv yang selalu masuk Twitch, masuk YouTube komen yang komen selalu ni. Tu dia dah ikut. Dia kutuk kau sebelum ni.
What did he say?
Twitch.tv/AdventureOne.
See?
Follow he don't have a sub button yet.
Okay,
If you want
follow.
to subscribe, twitch.tv/BlazeDragons.
God damn, semua promote diri.
If you want to watch a better Valorant gameplay, my Twitch.
Say better, not the best.
Better than Lima. It's the truth. It's a fact.
Yeah. People come to my stream for entertainment.
If you want to do entertainment, you can watch me. I have no entertainment. The only entertainment is me screwing around with him.
Meriah kita kata-kata.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah kau macam tu lah. Tangan buka. Yes, like that. Dah beli dah.
You know Sabrosa is actually Islam.
Dia?
Yeah.
Oh.
Miss every time when you see Sabrosa clutch, right, it's like Inshallah, Alhamdulillah.
Serius lah?
Yeah, shit, you know, and then look it up on YouTube, he always screams.
Dia makan tempat kerja pun. Office kita orang kat depan sana je. Dia tak dapat logo je. Tulisan Cina tu kat atas. Tu je. What?
Should I think of these juices instead?
Disposable pot?
Yeah.
Pakai buang?
Yeah lah.
I'm gonna try. $15 only.
Oh, really?
$500.
One day lah.
She already got
500. For me, half a day lah. Tak adalah. Tak ada.
in the office. Every time open the window.
Half every day also cannot reach $500.
Dude, open the window 10 bucks.
I know your price is less than $500. That's a lot,
No, I will not finish 500 a day. Half a day. A day.
Day and a half.
A day and a half. Yeah, could be a day and a half. Tapi rasa macam rugi. Kalau kita boleh beli ni, okay, kita beli vape ni, dah habis, buka ambil bateri dia.
No use. Because these things already attached in one thing.
Yeah, that's why. Kalau kita buang dengan bateri sekali.
Yalah, memang it's called a disposable man.
There's no such thing as one-time use battery.
You see the battery capacity?
Aku rasa dia orang takkan guna AA, AAA pakai buang.
Kau like kan?
YouTube.
heavy smoker stop smoking and turn to smoke. Yes, I can approve this because why? My dad stole my mod.
Agree.
My dad literally took my dried beer pot away. He's like, "Oi, I smoke this very nice. Help me stop smoking." Okay, I did. Then ciao lagi.
Masalah dia stop tak?
Stop.
Oh, okay. That's good. Good lah, bagus lah.
He needs to stop. Because why? He got bypass before. I rather him hit than smoke.
Well, Joe, orang ramai tanya mana kau dalam video aku pasal they want me to play with you guys again. Aku yang tak nak.
I'm gonna finish my battle pass today.
Are you taking a
Make
break?
our next time.
Battle Pass dah siap belum?
Belum lagi.
10 years.
I just decided to take a break from Valorant.
Yes.
So I was like, let's again. So I'll play again. Jom kita main. Dia mau seru gila. Seru gila.
Well, compared to me.
Wait, before I was like, oh, that day I think I masuk shooting range. Like, oh, okay, stick in. Kita dapat bottom frag.
Oh. Never mind.
Tonight I'm just getting here 50.
Aku baru 39.
I'm about to be no more. Just play adventure games.
So, rank apa?
Dah turun dah. Bronze 1.
Boosting the silver lah. Then kita naik over.
That's why I say, right now you pass me a account, I play at home. I promise you, within 4 games you silver already.
Silver harusnya boleh main aku. Di rank.
At least Silver know how to play now.
No,
Bronze don't know how
I
to
played one game in Silver Elo with him. I swear to God, right? Silver Elo, right? You press tab, right? You don't see the white speaker, right? They want to turn off voice command. What you say, what you do, they don't know one.
At least
Elo same shit also.
semalam aku main Jet pergi ke B, kita orang semua kat A dah masuk kan. Lepas tu Jet macam masih dengan op. Kita kat side dah. Oh, okay. Never mind.
But yesterday also made boosted diamonds.
Oh ya ke?
I made a lot of boosted diamonds. A lot of diamonds getting boosted. Even my friends be like, hey, I'm boosting this account to diamond 1. I'm like, so you are the one of the motherfuckers that winning my Elo.
Yeah. You are the problem.
You boost to plat 1, you know, why diamond?
But ever since I fell out of black, right, I dropped all the way down to gold, right? I realized that I want to go on.
Yeah.
Just don't know what I'll try. I make sure nothing like they talk just to talk shit about you, lah. Like, okay.
See.
Please,
See?
I just want to try, okay? It's $15. Very well. Okay, let's go back.
Lagi-lagi dia cotton ni fresh je kan. So dia bawah.
We going down about this second.
Oh, iya ke? See you guys lah. Aku nak pergi ambil nasi.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I follow him.
Ciao.
Ciao. See you when I see you. Yeah, see you in Valorant. Yelah, aku main dengan KD ni bang.
Damn long yet, it's still from your skin.
But itulah, aku takut main tengah orang because aku tak nak apa tu performance aku jatuh, nanti diorang tak have fun kan. But bila aku main dengan korang, we're just having fun. Top cock je. Pakai KZ Pro ke? Oh no. Earphone ni yang ni TRN V80.
Ini aku dah kata TRX ada minus.
Itu lain tu. Skin sekarang cantik tu. Aku geram pun tengok. Oh. RM100 tu nak top up.
What skin?
Huh?
What skin?
Actually, I like the Vandal. That one more than the Battle Pass.
What vendor?
Vandal in the yang sekarang kat market lah.
Sensation?
Ha-ha.
That doesn't cost 100 bro. That's the cheapest bundle you can get.
Berapa benda dia? 100 kan?
No! It's not even, it's not even there.
Berapa? Aku meneka je.
It's about $80.
Oh ya ke?
80 to $70 only. It depends on where you buy. For the shop.com.my sponsor.
Are you sponsor?
No, sponsor me soon.
Oh.
I introduced, so all the people in the fucking office right now is using Photoshop.
Yeah, including me. Aku introducekan semua orang untuk beli Koda shop.
Very nice.
Very nice. It's a good shop.
Use code shadow.
Ada ke?
Kalau ada pakai.
Okay, sekejap aku buka dia. Bro, siap lah. Ah, nice. Tak ada udang eh?
Thank you.
Betul tak ada udang? Ha. Cuba check dulu. Without prawn. Okay, nice. Thank you eh. Aku tak tahu bila lagi aku nak balik ke office lah. Kalau ada benda penting nanti aku balik office lah.
Ha?
Aku tak tahu esok. Esok aku tak datang office lah.
Kalau ada benda penting kau datang.
Ya, kau pun sama, kalau tak sihat jangan datang pula. Kau tak sihat masa tu.
Jam.
Motherfucker. Okay, ciao eh.
Ciao.
Shadow nak pergi balik ke motor dia. Rumah dia dekat je. Rumah aku jauh sikit. Let's go down. Naik kereta. Dan kita mulakan jam stream. Nanti masa dalam lift, aku tak ada line sangat tau. So, sorry. Nanti line akan hilang sikit. Aku di antara KZ aku lebih suka TRN. So that's why aku pakai TRN ni. Okay. Sampai dah. Oh, dia make you lepak sekejap. Nasi goreng petai. Nasi goreng petai. KZ punya dia tu lebih kepada bass. TRN ni lebih kepada vocal. So aku lagi suka vocal daripada bass. So I take this one lah. Come on. Nanti tak ada line tau dalam lift ni. Jangan hisap sampai 50 nafas. Sampai dia tu guna. Oh wait, dekat 5. Oh, Starbucks punya employee. 3 2 1. Berarti line tak ada. KZ is for gaming? No lah, it's just sound profile mana yang kau suka je. Aku lagi suka sound profile yang macam ni. Eh, what's up brother? Hello sir. Kau balik tau?
Apa dah?
Kau balik?
Ambil face mask.
Ha?
Make my mask.
No.
Saya sampai ke atas.
Tengoklah, aku rasa aku tak tengok sangat live stream dia because
You're watching a live stream.
I'm doing a live stream right now.
Oh, you're doing a live
Tak ada line now.
You're in the lift.
Yeah. Yeah, can't wait to see your team in action.
Infection.
Face to face.
Buka ni yang election. Ni dapat mereka.
Kau pakai mana tu? Ciao dulu eh. You too. Let's go. Kak aku cakap ni tak ada line, aku naik lift. Ni sekarang bawa ada line dalam kereta. Wait, oh god, I need to do this. Dah ada line dah. Masa parking dah ada line. Ya. Ya. No. God damn it, banyaknya wire dalam hidup aku. Okay, I'm back. Wife aku call. Ini dia. Come on. Stream. Chat. Okay. Okay. Hopefully kau dah dengar suara aku dengan lebih jelas. Aku pula nak dengar novel. Terbaik Okay. Oh, aku nak vape aku. Okay, good. Let's go. Jom kita gerak. God damn it. Okay, let's go. Dah boleh jalan. Aku rasa semua dah connect. Semua dah jalan. I'm ready to go home. Okay, I'm sorry guys. Apa tu, ada beberapa hari ni aku tak upload video segala. A bit busy with life and aku tak sempat nak record apa-apa lah. Sebelum ni aku ada record lah sampai hujung bulan, tapi untuk bulan Disember ni aku tak sempat nak buat apa-apa lagi. But live malam aku apa? I don't think malam ni aku akan live. Aku rehat sikit kot. I need to do a lot of work and kali aku kena rehat sikit lah. Oh my god, banyak pula kereta. Kalau tunggu kereta kosong bahaya. Come on, cepat sikit. Aku tengah tunggu server NJ Boy buka balik. Aku nak main balik NJ Boy. Ada masalah sikit, so that's why semalam ada meeting tu. Tapi dia masalah di antara kita je lah. IT korang tak perlu tahu lah masalah tu apa. Come on, kalau nak beli Go Smoke boleh ke? Kalau umur ke 15, Go Smoke tu apa? Benda tu Go Smoke. Ya, lagging sikit. Aku tahu lah, jalan ni aku dah lama tak pergi kerja, so aku tak tahu kawasan mana ada line, tak ada line segala. Lupa pula aku. Din tak tahu. Nope, I don't know apa dia tu Go Smoke. Aku tak tahu apa dia tu Go Smoke. Gula yang kena hisap. Oh, the sleeve market. Okay, good. This is a good chapter. Yeah. Ni gebu, of course. Badan aku bukan dia. Hoi. God damn it, aku tak tahu kalau wire. Okay, I think this is more comfortable. Balik kerja ni bukan balik kerja terus pun ada kerja lagi sebenarnya nak buat kat rumah. Tu. Aku rasa macam sekarang ni kan, konten yang aku nak buat, aku nak macam nak main Minecraft lagi ya. Tapi masalah ni aku tak tahu bila aku boleh ada masa untuk nak beli. Bahaya kalau motor ni. Aku tak nak cakap macam tak ada jam dia, tapi aku rasa macam ada jam depan nanti. Nanti kena ingat untuk cukur ni. Aku pakai best sekatan. Apa hal ni? Asyik lagging ni. Line 4 bar kot. Let's see. Ada jam sikit. Tak teruk tapi ada jam sikit. Hopefully line internet ni lah okey. Aduh. Sorry, aku tengah novel sebenarnya. You know what? Let's play the novel on the speaker and korang akan dengar sekali. I don't care. I just want to play up.
His eyes widened. A great dissonance existed between A, the rumours about Master Fitz, B, Master Fitz's physical appearance, and C, his actual mannerisms and speech. He was called Silent Fitz and feared as a magician who could wield voiceless magic, but when you actually talked to him, he was just any other person his age. A kind upperclassman who looked out for his juniors.
Hello.
Now
Welcome to
that
the
the two
stream.
of you have met,
Aku
let's get
tengah
going.
novel sambil buat kereta je ni.
The three of us moved out. The slave market was in the commerce district. The buying and selling of slaves was a quiet affair on the Millis continent and in the central continent's southern region, but the northern territories were different. Here, most countries
Welcome to
had
the stream, brother.
legalized the slave
Welcome, everyone.
trade, which was a key part of the economy. People became slaves for various reasons. There were those orphaned during wars. There were those who were sold as children by their parents when crop harvests failed and they had no other
Balik kerja.
options. There were also those who sold themselves as a way to save their family. There was even a rumor that a slave ranch existed in the darkest parts of the Thieves' Guild. The Magic Nations were generally prosperous with fodder during war. Before
Hal lain tak ada
I
ni.
had gathered some information from the Adventurers Guild.
Teruk lah.
Large cities had multiple slave markets. The building, it was plain, comprised of 3 modern stone buildings. Above the entrance slave market, a brazier crackled near the entrance, and beside it
Teruk lah
stood
lain
a
hari ni.
man
Teruk
clad in thick Arctic clothing topped with leather armor. So it's not outdoors, huh? Fitz remarked in surprise. Slave markets were generally indoors affairs in the Northern Territories, for a simple reason. Let's go inside. A blast of hot air enveloped us when we entered. Crackling fires were spread throughout the interior of the building, as raised stages were of the rum group. The around them were fairly diverse. There were adventurers like people in noble attire like Zanoba and Master Fitz, merchants, townspeople, peasants, and students. There were even a few slave owners in the mix, standing
Tengah-tengah novel lah sekarang ni. Oh, dia lain okey sikit lepas aku restart. Aduh, hai.
amongst themselves. The most shabbily dressed characters might have been pickpockets. No, they wouldn't be able to slip into a guarded market like this. Maybe they were slaves themselves, sent by their masters to find additional slaves to purchase. I further secured the coin bag hidden beneath my robes. Zanoba was the one funding the purchase of the slave, but I was the one handling his wallet. We'd be in deep trouble if someone came along and swiped it from him, after all. Wow. They really are all naked.
Of course, we
Was
slave.
looking at the
No, aku tertekan benda lain. No.
prologue. Light rapidly faded away.
God
The
damn it.
darkness place. I'd seen a knife somewhere before that could carve through bones as if they were butter. Now I understand, Master. With this method, even I should be able to create figurines. Zanoba's raised his voice in excitement. Such behavior was fitting for his age and just endeared me to him even more. Granted. I'd heard elves had long lives, so they weren't necessarily the age that they appeared. Oh yeah. Building. It was plain, comprised of 3 modern stone buildings. Above the entryway
Sikit. Aku duduk area Sha'lab.
becoming irrelevant to him. A race with dexterous hands. That's got to be a dwarf, right? I asked. A dwarf that can use earth magic, though the latter is more important than their race, Fitz replied as we made our way around the shops. Despite the size of the market, there weren't many dwarves among the slaves. Most of the people on sale were clearly warriors, and none had the dexterous hands we were looking for. I think we could make do with a child even if they can't use magic yet, since Reduce can always teach them that later, Fitz said. Why a young one? I asked. It's easiest to learn voiceless magic when you're young. Oh, really? Is that true? Yeah, it's almost impossible to learn once you're older than 10. Seriously? Although, come to think of it, Sylphie had been able to use voiceless magic, but Rose hadn't.
Best waifu,
Perhaps their
Sylphie.
age had something to do with it after all. So it's connected to age, huh? Yeah, I might be mistaken, but this is the conclusion I've come to on the basis of my personal experience, my masters, and the words of our professors. Also, if you start using magic by the age of 5, the size of your mana pool will drastically increase. If you want to teach the slave how to make figurines using your method, then the bigger the mana pool they have, the better. I thought the size of a person's mana pool was fixed at birth, I said. That's incorrect. The textbooks may say so, but the truth is that a person's mana pool ceases to grow once they reach the age of 10, Master Fitz explained. I see. That would explain
Pelik
why I
dia
had
panggil
such
Master
a vast
Fitz.
mana pool, having started using magic when I was about 2 or 3. And since Master Fitz had said he was speaking from personal experience, he probably harbored an impressively large mana pool, too. Have you also been using magic since you were pretty young? Yeah. Well, a long time ago, my master saved me and I asked him to teach me, which is how I learned. Aha. Maybe his master had saved him from monsters in a forest.
No, it's not
or
monster.
something.
He's
Then,
just a
if he'd
bully.
been a child then, it was more likely that he'd been kidnapped. There was a thriving business in trafficking children in this world, and even with the sunglasses on. Master Fitz was good looking, so your master can use voiceless magic too?
Dia dah betul ke jalan?
Yes, he's amazing. I respect him deeply. That's great. I'd love to meet him, I said. Meeting another teacher of voiceless magic could help me
That's
improve my
impossible.
abilities. Master Fitz gave a bitter laugh. I'm pretty sure that's impossible.
Tengok cermin je lah weh.
I guess he must be a pretty important person. Master Fitz was bodyguard to a princess, after all, so his master might be a court magician or something.
No, he's not.
He's, not highly ranked, but he is from the Fitoa region. Someone who got caught up in the displacement incident. So Fitz probably...
Banyak gila clue Fitz kasih. Bodoh baru dia ni.
Then, I hope he's still alive. He's still alive. I've found him, in fact. Come to think of it, he had said that he'd started looking into teleportation to search for an acquaintance. So that was his master, huh? Wait, then why can't I meet him? That's a secret.
That's a
Fitz grinned tearfully.
Jahat
Why was it that my heart seemed to pound when I saw his smile? Sure, I might swoon over fictional pretty boys, but I wasn't gay. Maybe this was my body taking
Not yet,
drastic
bro.
measures in its
Not
pursuit
yet.
of recovery. In keeping with Master Fitz's suggestions, we settled on 3 criteria as we searched for a slave. 1. They had to be around 5 years old. Any younger than
What's
that,
up,
there
man?
was a
Welcome to the
high
stream.
probability They wouldn't
Welcome,
be able
welcome.
to speak. 2. They had to be a dwarf for their dexterous hands. And 3rd, it had to be a cute little girl, my personal preference. A girl? I don't mind either way, but Master, aren't you losing sight of our goal here? Would use. It was my last requirement that led to both of them scolding me. That said, we can't expect a 5-year-old to have had much education. If all they speak is the beast god tongue, then we can forget about trying to teach them magic. I speak beast god. I can educate them. Truly, Master, you know the beast god language. You know
Season mana kau tengok sekarang?
Hey,
1 ke ataupun yang final ni? Season
I
4?
puffed up in pride at his compliment. I might not look it, but I was multilingual, after all. I'd even taught a 5-year-old in the past. Speaking of which, I wondered how Sylphie was doing. Eliflies and Master Fitz were testament to my fascination with elves.
Ke kau tengok season 4 terus? Final season terus?
Fantasy. Sylphie had elf blood in her, and she would be about 15 right now. I bet she'd
Tadi
grown
jumpa
into a
episod 11.
blonde-haired beauty,
Jumpa episod 11,
and
so kau
judging
skip
by
ke?
what Paul had said, her magic skills had really advanced, too. Her fame should be spreading far and wide, but I hadn't heard a single whisper about anyone fitting her description. At any rate, we've decided on our requirements, so let's try asking one of the merchants. I headed to the information center. Behind the desk was a macho dude with a slick, bald head and a moustache.
Tak jumpa episod 19 season 1 ada lah tu. Kau je tak reti cari tu. Cari kat Nia lah.
Excuse me, we're actually looking for... Macho ignored me and instead addressed Zanova.
Oh.
Hey there, welcome. What you looking for? A fighter type that can act as a bodyguard. We have some available right now that can be taught
Mati
how
lelaki
to
ni.
wield a sword. We do have some magicians as well, but you'd probably be better off going to the university in that case. Or are you interested in the type that can? You know? You don't even have to say. I can tell by your mug that you don't exactly attract the ladies. We have one curvy girl in her 20s, a former prostitute, so she's pretty skilled at. The man took an iron claw to the face and was lifted into the air. Don't ignore my master. I'll rip out that ridiculous waggling tongue of yours.
Balik kerja ni,
Take your
balik
jaw
rumah.
off while I'm at it. Hey now, what are you doing? Two guards swarmed in to subdue Zanoba, but he didn't budge an inch. In fact, all he had to do to fling them off was to shrug slightly. Impressive, I thought. This tall, underfed otaku had totally
Ni tengah
overpowered
dengar
two
novel sebenarnya ni.
guards without even
Dah volume
trying.
8 aku
So
dengar.
this was the might of a blessed child, huh? Oh, wait, I shouldn't be spectating. Stop. Zanoba, knock it off. Down, boy. Yes, sir. At the sound of my voice, Zanoba released the man. I turned to face the security guard and bowed swiftly. I'm terribly
Kau tak-
sorry
kau tak
about
tahu,
that.
wait, dude.
He just got
Aku
a
cakap
bit
jujur lah.
excited.
Kau tak
No,
lain.
it's fine.
Satu
Just
volume is 8
try
hours.
not to go too
6 hingga 8 jam.
okay? We'll
And
draw our
aku
swords
start
next
dengar
time.
ni 3 hari
They
lepas.
happily let it slide, and
So,
I pretended not to notice the fear in their eyes.
I've been listening non-stop for
The
8
most
volume.
unexpected thing,
One volume
however,
8 jam.
was Master Fitz's reaction.
Satu je
The
dapat jadi
moment
cuma
the
6 jam.
guards seized Zanoba, he stepped in front of me with his wand raised. His movements were incredibly fast, but unsurprising for a princess's bodyguard. Well, whatever, on with the conversation. We're looking for a dwarf.
Teruk lah, aku
5
tengah
years
addicted
old,
gila
I
lah dengan
said,
novel ni.
repeating our request to Macho. The man trembled as he ran his eyes over the inventory list in front of him. He flipped page after page and his eyes narrowed. We don't really have many dwarves around here to begin with, especially 5-year-olds. It seemed our requirements were too specific. After all, dwarves mostly lived on the Milis continent, to the south of the Great Forest at the base of the Blue Wim Mountains. It doesn't have to be a dwarf. If they're dexterous with their hands, that'll do. Oh, we do have one. Just one. Macho tapped his finger against a spot on his inventory list. A 6-year-old dwarf girl.
Tol kedua. Oh wait, dah tak ada block-block kat sini. Wow.
Her family were sold off to slavery.
Okay.
She's not in the best of health, though. Well, she'll probably be just fine once you get some food in her. She doesn't speak the language of humans, and since she's only 6, she can't read either.
Boleh
I see.
ajar, boleh
And
ajar.
what's the status of her parents?
Dead.
We already sold them both. Well, why don't
Oh,
we just
semua
go
slave.
ahead and meet her then? Macho called out, and a merchant showed up. He was dark-skinned, most likely from the Bigrit continent. He was stocky and sweaty, wiping himself often with the damp cloth around his shoulders, but the market was hot. I'd taken off my robe, and Zanoba had removed his cloak. Only Master Fitz remained fully clothed. In fact, he seemed perfectly comfortable, judging by the look on his face. Well, okay, his face was bright red, but that was for an entirely different reason. The merchant introduced himself, extending his hand in Zanoba's direction. Greetings, I'm the branch manager for the Damani store, a subsidiary of the Rum Group. My name is Febrito. Zanoba was reaching for the man's face, so I forcefully took his hand into mine and gave it a shake. A pleasure. My name is Ruduz the Quagmire. When I offered my name, the man looked dubious for a moment, but his expression quickly shifted into a broad smile. Oh, so you're Quagmire. I've heard of you. They say you took out a straggler last year. I was just lucky. My opponent was also weakened. Febrito took a brief glance over at Zanoba and Master Fix. I hear you're looking for a dwarf today? Yes, this man over here will be funding the opening of a new business venture. We're looking for a
business
child
venture.
to train the necessary skills
Business
from a
venture.
young age. It was a haphazard explanation, but it wasn't a lie. I see. I can't really recommend this particular individual to you, but why don't you have a look first? This way, please. We followed Febrito out back into the slave storage. Well, I called it storage, but it was just lines of steel cages connected to pulleys. Each cage was just about a single tatami mat wide, with 1 or 2 people crammed inside. The merchants probably washed and polished them before putting them on display, but they were filthy right now, and a whiff was enough to make me crinkle my nose. Upon closer inspection, I saw weeping children and others with piercing glares full of murderous intent directed our way. There were a few
Yelah,
others
slave,
like us, conversing with other merchants in the storage area. Febrito walked swiftly through the gaps between the steel cages, calling out to someone standing at the edge of the pathway. Hey, is that one
Kau atur
kid
team
still
Yudo Gang ke?
alive?
No, aku video editor untuk Yudo
She's
Gang.
hanging on. Where?
Aku kerja as
Here.
editor
We
untuk
went
diorang.
deeper into the storage area.
Aku tak adalah
Her
handle
hunters
diorang ke
didn't
apa.
seem to work all the
Pasal
way
hari
back
ni ada
here,
meeting
so
besar
it was
dengan
a bit
Yudo Gang,
chilly.
dengan player-player
Febrito's
sekarang.
subordinate stopped in front of
That's
the
why aku pergi
house
office.
that
Usually aku buat
with
kerja
a
kat rumah
blank
ke.
look in her eyes,
COVID kan sekarang ni.
seated with her knees drawn up to her chest. Well, bring her out. Roger that. Febrito's subordinate nodded and opened the steel cage, dragging the girl out. The child had a collar around her neck and shackles around her feet. Her skeletal body was covered by pathetic rags. Her hair might have been orange once, but was now a disheveled, filthy mess with strands of grey peppered throughout.
Selamat
Her
petang,
face was
welcome to the
pale,
stream.
and her eyes were hollow as she wrapped her arms around herself, trembling. I realized it was chilly, but that didn't seem to be the only reason for her quivering. It was a painful sight to behold. Strip her. Her shivering didn't seem to bother Febrito's subordinate, who quickly ripped the rags right off her. Her deathly thin, undernourished body was left completely exposed. Master Fitz's face screwed up as he watched. Rude use. Even I found this nothing but abhorrent. I just wanted to hurry up and buy her so we could get her a meal and a hot bath. However, the girl's eyes did concern me. Those empty eyes. I'd seen them somewhere before.
Oh, cibai,
As you
potong
can
queue.
see, she's a dwarf, 6 years old, so she doesn't really have any skills to speak of. Both of her parents were dwarves. Her father was a smith, and her mother crafted jewelry. She should have the dexterous hands you desire, assuming she's inherited their skill, but the only language she knows is the beast god tongue. We didn't really think we could sell her,
Aku tak ada
so her
RM10,
health
aku nak beli
isn't in
mangga
the
ni,
best
macam sedap
condition either. We'll give you a discount on that account. Master Fitz looked troubled as he approached the girl, putting a hand to her cheek. After a few seconds, her complexion improved a bit. He'd probably cast something on her, and she's a virgin, of course. We'll detox her just in case, if you decide to buy her. Though I can't really recommend it. Master Fitz looked at me like a child that had found an abandoned puppy and brought it home with them. The girl met our criteria, ... but those eyes really bothered me. Hello there, miss. I knelt down and called out to her in the beast god language. My name's Rudius. What's yours? You see, there's something that I'd like to have you do. She just stared back at me with those blank eyes, not offering a single word in reply. Febrito's subordinate reached for the whip resting at his side, but I stopped him with my hand. Master, what is it? Zanoba queried. She's lost all hope. She's got the look of someone who doesn't want to live anymore. You've seen someone like that before?
Yes. Diri dia.
Many times. Long ago. Both as Anoba and Master Fitz looked concerned, but I didn't intend to volunteer any more information about my past life if I could help it. Nothing good could come of it.
Aku nak sambung baca
The
tu.
girl's gaze brought back memories. I did the same look in
Aku
my
boleh
mind
habis
around
ni, lepas aku
20.
sambung baca
I had
kat
no
novel.
schooling,
I
no
can
hope for the
actually
future,
do that.
No job prospects. All I could
Aku
do
boleh
was
buat
eat,
macam tu.
grow up, and survive. In hindsight, it hadn't been too late for me to turn things around. But instead,
come on.
I sunk further
Kejar lama
into
sikit.
despair, devolved into a complete shut-in, lost even more hope. I'd wanted to die. Do you not want to live anymore? I asked in Beast God. ... You feel like everything's hopeless. I understand what that's like. Her
Benda
gaze
jatuh.
slowly settled on me. If it's that bad, should I just tend it for you? I could do my best to save this girl. I could buy her clothes. I could feed her. I could even offer her kind words. But I needed to know if she wanted me to.
Yeah.
Say something, I said in Beast God. The girl didn't even flinch. She just very slowly opened her cracked lips. I don't want to die, she muttered in a small voice. It was a half-hearted response, but it would do. It was okay if she didn't want to live. She at least didn't want to die, and that enough for now. We'll buy her. I wrapped the rope I was carrying around her shoulders. Then I used magic to warm her up and chanted the detoxification spell. Healing magic wouldn't do anything for her stamina, so we'd just have to get some food in her. Mr. Febrito, how much? She was the equivalent of 10 Asura large copper coins. That was her price.
Large copper.
We took the child to a wash area at the edge of the slave market to bathe her, then headed to the commerce district to purchase clothes and other necessities. We finally wound up at a ritzy cafe, not somewhere I'd have gone by myself, but Master Fitz was the one who picked it. He fit right in, while Zanoba was completely unfazed, as befitting of royalty. The girl we just purchased was wholly focused on gulping down food, making me the only one who felt uncomfortable in such fancy surroundings. Master Fitz seemed to be in good spirits. Glad you like it, he said, as he stroked the girl's head. By the way, rude use, what's her name? What's your name? I asked in Beast God. The girl looked at me, puzzled. Name? Huh? Was I not communicating the words clearly enough? I hadn't used the language for about 3 years now, but I'd
My
done fine
God,
in the
aku
Great
lupa.
Forest. Maybe those in the Doldia village had indulged me the same way someone from Japan might indulge an American who showed up in Tokyo and claimed to be fluent in Japanese. What are you called? The child of Bazaar of the Holy Steel and Lilitula of the beautiful Snow Ridge.
What?
I had no clue
Panjang
what was
ni.
going on, so I just translated her words verbatim. When I did, Master Fitz simply replied, "Oh, okay," nodding to himself with a knowing look on his face. Dwarves don't get an official name until they're 7, he explained. An official name? When they turn 7, they receive a name that's fashioned after something they're good at, something they're attracted to, or something they like. So that was it. Master Fitz was knowledgeable as always. Still, we need something to call her, I said. Her parents are gone. We'll just have to name her ourselves. We're going to decide on your name, now. Do you have any preferences? I asked the girl myself, but she merely tilted her head. She's a little girl.
Kita
Let's
faham.
give her a cute name. Master Fitz's reasoning sounded like something a girl would say. It made me want to do the opposite and give her a tough-sounding name. But no, I couldn't do that. We had to do this right. Zanoba, let us hear your opinion. Zanoba glanced my way. Are you sure it's all right for me to decide? You're the one who funded this venture, after all. Then Julius it is, he said, with no sign of
Julius.
given it any
Oh, nama
consideration at all.
bini apa
Isn't
tu,
that a boy's
Zanoba?
name? Yes,
Oh,
it
eh?
was once the name of my poor little brother. The
Ah,
one I
abang
killed
dia.
when I misjudged my own strength. I couldn't quite control my face when he said that. I knew that Zanoba had killed his little brother, but didn't know how to react to the indifference with which he spoke. Master
Aneh,
Fitz
saya buat
just
slow
looked
sangat, aneh.
confused. She'll be staying in my room, won't she? She should bear a name that I feel a connection with. At least make it Juliet. She is a girl, after all. That's fine with me. Juliet it is, then. July. Eat. Hee. That's a good name. Master Fitz laughed merrily, as if he found something about the name amusing. From today, your name will be Juliet, I relayed to the girl in beast tongue. Julie. Juliet. Julie, she said with a clumsy grin. Close enough. And that was how Juliet, nicknamed Julie, came into Zanoba's care. At night, I tutored her in voiceless magic and the human tongue, while Zanoba gave her rambling lectures on the properties of dolls and figurines. He also made her go through dexterity developing exercises with him, probably because he still wanted to be able to make figurines by himself someday. In the meantime, there was still no sign that I'd achieve my true objective anytime soon.
Oh, is it
Diamond. Diamond.
diamond? Is
Chapter
this?
7, The Kidnapping and Confinement of Beast Girl.
Yes, this is the. Okay, I love this chapter.
Lydia Diddledear, the granddaughter of Gustav, the leader of the Diddledeer, one of the Diddledeer tribes acting as protectors
the
of
best
the Great
chapter.
Forest.
Best
The daughter
chapter.
of the warrior leader Jais, next in line to be tribal leader. Person Adoldia. From another of the Diddledeer tribes acting as protectors of the Great Forest. She was the granddaughter of the Adoldia's tribal leader Bulldog and daughter of the warrior leader, next in line to be tribal leader, Tertilia. The Diddledeer tribe were a special race among the Beast folk. Their roots could be traced back almost 5,500 years to the aftermath of the first great human-demon war. The humans had won that war, and grown more arrogant for it. Faced with impending invasion, the Beast folk living in the vast lumber resource
Beast.
that was the Great Forest
The
were
beast.
forced to take a stand. Their alpha at the time, the beast god Gaija,
Ya tu,
marshaled
boleh lah
the
cakap
Beast
beast.
folk against the despicable humans and fought personally on the front lines. He wielded his power and his wit to rescue other Beast folk while defending the Great Forest. Even after Gaija passed away, the Diddledeer tribe were revered as chief among the Beast folk of the Great Forest. These days, Beast folk weren't just limited to the Great
Beast.
Forest, but were expanding across the central
Beast.
continent and into the biggerate continent. They were
Hey,
as
yo, what's
numerous
up,
as
brother?
humans,
Welcome
but
to
were
the
widespread
stream.
enough that they couldn't just be
Welcome.
ignored, and they wielded great influence among the elves, dwarves, and hobbits.
What's up?
There was enough
What's
military
up?
power within the Great Forest to go toe-to-toe with the holy country of Milis, if the Beast folk so desired. Linnea and Persona were the granddaughters of the Diddledeer tribal leaders,
Okay,
directly
sekarang 7E.
descended from the beast god. In human terms, they had the same standing as princesses. Why, then, had these girls come so far from home to study in such a distant land? Because the previous generation's prince, Jais, and princess, Ghislaine, had been complete screw-ups, and like them, Linnea and Persona weren't very smart.
Oh, Jam.
The tribal leader Gustav ordered them to go study in a far-off land in the hope that they would find wisdom there, perhaps thinking that being in a place where they couldn't exert their authority would teach them its meaning. However, Gustav had miscalculated. He sent Linnea and Persona to the University of Magic, assuming their positions as granddaughters of tribal leaders of the Beast folk would have no meaning there. The girls had likewise steeled themselves for discrimination, but were greeted instead by teachers who treated them with great caution and other students who tried to flatter them. The moment Linnea and Persona understood their lineage still held weight here, it went to their
Tapi mana?
heads.
Balik rumah.
When they
Dia
first
kerja.
enrolled, they trembled with fear around the humans, but that changed the moment they saw how timid those humans were around them. They soon realized that the combination of incanted magic they'd learned in class, their vocal magic, which had been passed down through the Diddledeer tribe, dexterity, and strength
Aku tak
was
main game.
enough to
Aku
bring
tengah buat
even the
kereta.
strongest upperclassmen to their knees, and with that, their behavior grew steadily worse and worse. Extortion, blackmail, bullying, they were full-blown delinquents before long, and in a year's time, has become the bosses of their own faction. Their steady advance, however, soon came to an end. When they became second years, a princess arrived from the Asura kingdom.
Yes,
The
Asura.
second princess, Ariel Asura. This woman, who had recently created her own faction and engaged in a power struggle back home, brought 2 guards with her and waltzed right into Linnea and Persona's territory like she owned the place. Even the professors who had been at Linnea and Persona's beck and call now turned their attention to Ariel. Frustrated and annoyed, Linnea and Persona put
Giveaway,
up with Ariel, nonetheless, until she joined the
Kena giveaway.
student council despite being a first year. As Ariel was showered with praise for being an honors student,
Apa yang aku dapat dengan giveaway kau nak buat? Tahu sikit. Aku dapat apa dengan giveaway kau?
continued to escalate until their entire mob of delinquents were utterly beaten by Master Fitz, acting. Rumor had it that the showdown had been a trap laid by Ariel. Changed the fact that Master Fitz had defeated almost 20 opponents by himself. The professors conferred, and every member of Linnea and Persona's goons were expelled, except for Linnea and Persona themselves,
What's up? Welcome.
protected
Oh,
once
siapa
again
ni kat sana?
by their
Shit.
status. Their reputation was ruined. Their
Salah.
minions were gone, so they had no allies left. Their social her group boy's eyes. Technically a special student, the princess insisted that she and her bodyguards be treated just the same as the general admissions students, which only added to her popularity. Linnea and Persona, of course, were none too pleased. They took out their anger on the two other special students who had enrolled the previous year, Zanoba and Cliff, and once they'd soundly defeated them, went on to use Zanoba to gather information on the princess and her ilk. For the moment, though, they made no moves toward revenge. Their conduct could still use improvement, but they were even attending lessons in earnest these days. You might even say they'd been rehabilitated. Their war with Ariel was at an end. Or so it seemed. Diamond. Zanoba. A month had passed since Julie became our master's junior pupil. Master was using a peculiar method of training, claiming it's an experiment. At the beginning of each day, Julie would have to cast one spell using an incantation. After that, he would teach her no more incantations, but make her silently conjure clumps of earth instead. I didn't think she'd ever learn to use voiceless magic that way, but to my
Ya lah, dah
shock,
okey sikit
she
dah.
managed it after 1 month.
Aku nak pergi ke 7E
That
ni.
was right.
Ikut sekali lah.
In just 1 month, Julie had successfully created a lump of earth without an incantation, an astonishing accomplishment. According to Master, however, she still had a lot to learn. She'd only managed to conjure earth without an incantation that one time, and she also ran out of mana quickly. Still, compared to someone like me, who had no talent for magic whatsoever, I couldn't believe it. This is all thanks to Master Fitz and his advice.
Okay, let's go. Nak pergi beli samyang. 17. Oh, sorry.